Aloha and welcome to the Embodied Healing Self podcast with your host, Jen Mons. Each week, join me for soul-inspired, conscious conversations around embodied healing and awakening to your soul's purpose. Thank you for listening in. Hello, friends, and welcome back to this week's episode of the Embodied Healing Self. So I just finished recording with one of my dear friends, Desiree Dennis, who is the owner of a healing center in Pennsylvania and Spirit Guidance and Healing. She has been a presence in my life over the last 5 years. And one of the things that happens when we have these experiences with a coach, with a mentor, with a healer, is one of the things that we talked about is that our experience is so much greater and expansive than just those moments in the session together. And so as a result of just having that connection with her over the past hour and recording with her, what I notice in my energy field is I am more expanded and connected and divinely downloading and receiving information about what I'm going to share in the podcast today, which is just totally awesome that happens. It's one of the benefits that is something we don't think about. I think when we decide whether or not we're going to have a session with somebody or join a program with somebody is that a lot of the results that are happening are just so much more expansive than just that particular session or that moment. And I know this is something that I hear from my clients all the time. When we work together, it's when you say yes to you, you say yes to your life. You say yes to God and the universe. I am ready to receive all that I am worthy of. And some of the things that happen, I know when I'm working with clients, is a new love of their life comes in, or a new job opportunity happens, or a new house comes on the market, and they move spaces into something new. They create new space. And I say that to share with you that these experiences are like almost energy portals of expansion into the next sort of path or journey. And when you say yes to you, to whomever is supporting you, or maybe it's just to yourself, maybe it's to your sacred ritual that you say yes to creating, maybe it's to exercising or eating healthy, or to a new relationship to your life, maybe it is to seek out support from a coach or a mentor and go that deeper level. But when you choose to invest in yourself and you believe it and you embody it and you embrace it, the whole world, your higher self, divine source, is just like holding this higher vision of you until you are ready to receive it. And as a coach and a mentor, that is what we do. We with divine source hold that higher vision for you that is waiting for you, and we guide you until you're ready to receive it. So in my recent experience, just spending time recording with Desiree, that energy, that exchange of energy just opened up something new for me, and now I'm recording it. So today what I want to share with you are the 7 steps to energy attunement and your energy signature, so that you can embody your soul signature, which is really your higher self, which is the highest vibration of your soul. So if you listen to last week's episode 42, Sacred Life Lessons, there were a couple of them that I talked about that our only purpose, number 33, is to be who we are. That is our only purpose. And the work that I do and encourage my clients to do in my community is to create this container through our body, through our life, where we become the highest vibrational match for the highest expression of our soul. So we create this life. We create healthy boundaries. We create healthy relationships. We let go of toxic relationships, toxic foods, toxicity in our life, toxic energy. We heal those emotional wounds that we're carrying because those are toxic too, and they're in our past, and they don't identify who they are. They're just a part of our experience. And when we do that, when we clear up that space, we welcome new space for sort of that upgrade, that up level, that expansion in our life, that calling in what we really want, because we get rid of all of the fears and the blocks that are holding us back. So today we're going to talk about the new program that I'm launching on the full moon of October 14th, which is the Energy Attunement Academy, where we are going to talk about these 7 steps to energy attunement. And energy attunement is the idea that we all come in with this frequency. Every human being. If any of you here are science nerds like me and you've studied Albert Einstein, he was really the one that came up with all of these concepts, right? Like everything is energy. So that is the space that we are talking about today, is how do we live in alignment with our highest vibration, our frequency that we come into the earth with? What is the highest frequency that we are able to hold? And how do we become a vibrational match for the highest frequency or vibration of our soul? So I'm going to share that with you today. And I invite you to join us for a 5-day energy alignment challenge. You can check out jenmons.com/energy to join the complimentary 5-day challenge. We'll have a closed Facebook group. You're going to download my new ebook, The 7-Step Roadmap to Energy Attunement and Aligning with Your Energy Soul Signature. And we will have daily group coaching calls in there. It's going to be super fun. So I invite you to join us. I'll share the link in the show notes. So let's get started. If our only purpose in life is to embrace who we were born to be, to become a vibrational match for the highest expression of our soul, there are steps that we can take to nourish the container, the vessel held in our human body, so that we raise our vibration, our frequency, and so that for what we are calling in. I taught health coaching. I always talked about food as energy. And there were certain vibrations that I would notice my frequency shift based on what I was eating. And I've also been a yoga teacher and taught many workshops on chakras, so I've always loved the world of energy. And I've done a lot of my own deep healing work, which when I was willing to do the deeper work allowed me to expand my own energy field and be able to put together and make sense of what it was that I was experiencing. I'm able to recognize energetic patterns and vibrations that keep people from living in their soul's highest expression. I feel them, I see them, I sense them. It's something that I've always been doing, and using that information to intuitively guide people on nourishing themselves, or to recognize the fears and the blocks or the patterns that show up that keep them from nourishing themselves. And so now opening it up to that deeper level that keep them from stepping into their purpose and loving their life. When we experience disturbances in the chakra system or the energy body that come from toxic foods, toxic relationships, energy blocks, it can show up as disease, illness, addiction, depression, low self-worth, low energy, overwhelm, exhaustion. It simply means that we're out of alignment. I'm here to help you recognize where your energy patterns are out of alignment so that you can maximize the receiving of your full potential. And that's what we're going to do in that 5-day energy challenge. So the first foundational step that we embrace is in discovering your energy signature and creating sort of your own soul mapping to embody your energy signature, is creating sacred space. And we do this by clearing energy. We do this by creating our own sacred container and space for healing. So just like in our physical body, this would include cleansing, getting rid of toxic foods and receiving nourishing foods. We're talking about the space of our energy body here. We're talking about clearing out toxic emotions, We're talking about getting clear on our beliefs on time and energy. So we do this by participating in an energy dump or a brain dump, where we take a moment to list out all of the things that are not serving you in this moment, all of the things that you think you have to get done, because most of us are overachievers. Most of us have way too many personal goals that make us feel like we're not good enough because we're never meeting them. So write down all of the things that you think you have to do in this moment. It could be pages long, and really clear out that energy. If it's painting your bathroom or writing that book or going grocery shopping or signing up for a session with that coach or making that doctor appointment, whatever it is, write down all of those things. If it's taking your kid to get her dance shoes next size up, whatever it is, write down all those things. Start to clear the energy. And then get really clear and build a relationship with time and energy. Start to explore, what are your beliefs around time and energy? So notice the things that you say to yourself, like, I don't have the time, or I just don't have the energy to do this. Notice if you say those things, because there's a lot of power in words. And start to discover what your relationship is with time and energy. Were they things that you heard when you were a kid? I know one that shows up for me is, I was the daughter of a father who was in the military. So if you were on time, you were late. And so I still have that pattern within me where, like, if I'm 1 minute late, I am really late. And it causes stress for me, because my whole belief system based on how I grew up was that if you were on time, you were late, and it wasn't acceptable to be late. What do you notice around your beliefs about time and energy? Because we're talking about time and energy in the same way, and one person that I love to follow on this is Kate Northrup. She talks a lot about, in her book, Do Less, like the ability to shift our perception on time, because really, we all have the same 24 hours in a day. And if we want to go even deeper, there is no time and space in the spirit world, in dimensions. We created a measurement for this. So our perception on time and energy is what our belief is about it. So I invite people to go really deep into their relationship with time and energy. How do you feel? Do you feel like there's enough time? Do you feel like you have enough energy to complete the things that you want to complete? What are the things that you say to yourself when you think about starting something new? And then, of course, practicing presence. Creating sacred space is the present moment. All of the energy that is in that moment goes so much further than just that moment. But the energy that is in that moment is truth. When I launched my first podcast 3.5 years ago, which only happened for about 2 months because it ended with the recording Creating Sacred Space, which in that moment was all about witnessing the transition of losing my brother-in-law as he was in the hospital after being in a coma for 7 days. And that sacred space was all about the energy in the space of being in the room with him and feeling and sensing all of his energy, and knowing that even when his physical body left, that the energy that I was holding within my body in his presence could still be there at any time. So I say that to bring in a tangible event, in that anything that we create energetically in our vision, in our energy field, is already a part of you. My business coach and mentor, Amber Lillystrom, likes to say, if the dream is in you, it's for you. So this is where presence of the energy of the dream that you've already imagined, if you can see it, sense and feel it, believe it, it's already in you. And all we do is choose to take the steps to get there. So this is the sacred space. This is the container. This is clearing the energy to call in what we want. The second awareness around discovering your energy signature is healing energy blocks. And when we do this, we can harness their power and use that as a catalyst for change. So I talked a little bit about this in the podcast with Lloyd Burnett, harnessing the power of our fear and using it as a catalyst for change. Many of our blocks show up as fears. They show up as self-limiting beliefs. And so this requires a little bit of inner work, healing the heart space, noticing the patterns that are running our lives subconsciously, leaning into that uncomfortable space, noticing what the fear or the block is that is holding you back from taking that next step. I've talked about it in a few episodes. The most common blocks or self-limiting beliefs that show up: the fear of being unworthy, unlovable, not good enough, hopeless, not safe. And so just kind of noticing the patterns that show up in your life, the many different areas of your life. And when we notice, when we do the inner work, when we lean into it, there's so much power in that fear, in those blocks. Rather than letting it go and discharging that energy, we can actually harness the energy of that self-limiting belief or that fear and use it as a catalyst for change. So I actually did this, 16 and a half years ago on my honeymoon. I chose to overcome my fear of heights by bungee jumping off of a bridge into the water in New Zealand. So that's just kind of a physical example that's sort of easy to visualize, where we can choose to be afraid or we can step into it. We can embody it. We can embrace it. And it was the most liberating feeling ever. I mean, I thought I was going to die as I jumped off the edge. We had a VHS tape. It was so long ago. You can hear me screaming like I'm sure that the line's going to snap and I'm going down. But when I came back up, I was like, oh my God, I did it. Like I just faced my fear, and it was so invigorating. So how can we do this in our life? How can we face those fears and lean into them and harness their power? There's so much power in those, and use them for the catalyst for change. Go beyond the fear. The third level of awareness in our energy signature is intuitive nourishment, receiving, cleansing and receiving, the balance of cleansing and receiving in our physical body. This raises our vibration. When we in our physical bodies, when we figure out the foods that are making us feel heavy, just as we did before with the emotions and the self-limiting beliefs, because all of these things have a very low vibration, they're very heavy. Just as we chose before to do it in the heart space, now we're doing it in the physical body. We are letting go of the foods that might be causing inflammation. We are letting go of foods that are a lower vibration. And we are figuring out what foods can fuel us, what foods can raise our vibration, which of course the highest energy vibration food is going to be anything raw. Fruits and vegetables have the highest frequency. You can almost think of it as like, where does it come from in the earth? Right? Fruits come from trees, so they're like higher up. And then there's root vegetables beneath the earth, which are very grounding. So you can sort of think of it in that way. Lower vibration foods will include energetically just anything processed, anything without color, and then of course dead animal food, animal protein. That's a whole nother controversial topic. And sometimes we need that lower vibration food to ground us. There's 3 ways you can ground through food energetically. And this is just all my belief based on my experience. This isn't anything anybody taught me. It's what I have seen and witnessed within myself and within my kids. But to lower vibration includes 3 choices: root vegetables from the earth, under the ground, junk food, or animal protein that's cooked. Those are all lower vibrations. Now, of course, some may say, and I will share an episode with Dr. Mihaela Telecon, the author of Make Peace with Fat, that there is a way to nourish the body with animal protein. And so for some of you, that might work. It depends on your energetic constitution, where you are, and what vibration you're living in. But figuring that out is super powerful. Figuring out which foods fuel you and which ones take energy away from you. Now, I know for me personally, gluten and corn take my energy down. Low vibration don't work for me. So cleansing with food, drinking water, juicing to raise the vibration, intuitive nourishment, learning about what works for your body. Intuitive eating is so important because this is where we give and receive multiple times a day. We have to eat to survive. So every opportunity, every meal is a chance to either give your body fuel or to deplete it. So intuitive eating is a super powerful gift, and it's part of building that sacred container in your physical body. The fourth level of awareness is energy management. This is all about creating clear boundaries and intentions. So there's boundaries, and then being intentional about your choices. So I like to say energy management is the new time management. I used to call it choice management, but energy management is about being intentional with your choices. Getting really clear about being in alignment with your truth, with your values, with your goals, with your vision, and creating the boundaries in relationships, environments, with your physical body, about which you will allow yourself to receive and where you will give. Because everything is a balance of giving and receiving, cleansing and nourishing. So just being really clear on your intentions. Is this in alignment with my highest intention? Does this have to happen right now? Am I the one that has to do this? There might be something that you're passionate about and that you want to support, but maybe you don't have to be the person who does all the work. Maybe you support it in another way. So just being super clear about how you spend your energy. Where do you take on energy that isn't serving you? Where do you give energy that isn't received? Is it in alignment with your belief system, with your energetic field? Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Just because you can go and speak at that event or say yes to, bringing on a new client or volunteering for that PTA position, it doesn't mean that you have to. Just because you can and just because you can do it well doesn't mean that it's in alignment with where you are. So just getting super clear on that. That's what energy management is about. Keeping your energy field clear about what you want to receive and what you want to put out into the world. The fifth level is energy alignment through self-devotion, creating that sacred ritual. So once we clear out old belief patterns, we clear out toxicity in our life. And this is a work in progress, by the way. This is a practice. It doesn't just happen overnight. Sometimes we come back to the second level, and each of these are representing, they're connected with the 7 chakras, coming into alignment through the chakra system, keeping that energy clear. As we go through the process, sometimes we have to come back to that root chakra. Sometimes we have to come back to those primal needs. Sometimes we have to come back and heal the heart space. Sometimes we have a relationship with somebody who is uncomfortable and shows us there's a deeper layer of healing in this area. So we always know that it's a practice, that it's a journey. But creating that sacred ritual helps us to ground into our intention. It keeps us in alignment by starting the day out with being really clear about how you want to use your energy for the day. Taking a few moments in the morning to reflect in stillness, to think about what you have happening that day. Who are the people that you'll come in contact with? What is your intention for the day? How will you use your energy? How will you nourish yourself? How will you show up in a certain space? Where do you need to be mindful of giving too much energy? Where do you notice that there may be toxic energy in a relationship or in an environment, either physically or energetically? When you feel depleted, I often like to say that feeling of depletion, overwhelm, exhaustion, busyness is just misalignment. Creating that sacred ritual keeps the energy, the intention of our use of energy in alignment. And of course, to seal the sacred space of each day, I love to encourage people to sort of seal the envelope with daily gratitude and celebration. I don't think that we do this enough. The gratitude and the celebration help to remind us what we have accomplished, what we did do. A lot of times we don't give ourselves enough credit for all of the things that we're doing, for all of the things that we are, for the choices that we've made. Even if it was just smiling at the person when you check out at the grocery store, or opening the door for somebody, or not allowing yourself to be triggered by something somebody said, or choosing self-care, going to that yoga class, that workout class, making a smoothie for yourself, allowing yourself not to be totally depleted after maybe, I don't know, for some of you, spending time with the in-laws and the different ways that shows up. Maybe it's standing up for yourself, not being a people pleaser, not giving too much. But how can you allow yourself to celebrate something that this day gave to you? What can you be thankful for? And then moving into another foundational step of really starting to embody that energy signature is embodying it through our body wisdom. Embodiment is super important. Embodiment is like the stamp on the envelope. It's like the imprint, the energetic imprint that we create in the physical body, which the physical body is the container that holds this life experience. So we can say we're thankful for something, but when we allow ourselves to feel gratitude on a deeper level, on a cellular level, then we embody it. We become it. We are no longer separate from our experiences. So this goes even deeper to say that we are not separate from our trauma. We are not separate from our pain. We are not separate from our experiences. We are the experience. We are the fear. We are the love. We are any illness. We are all of those things embodied in our wholeness. And the physical body is sort of like the container that imprints it on a cellular level. We do this through working with our energy fields, through the chakras. Many of you may be familiar with the 7 within the body, and there's 13. But the embodiment piece is really honing in on those 7 chakras: the root, the sacral, the solar plexus, the heart, the throat, the third eye, the crown. And keeping those energy fields clear, rooting down into the earth through our sacral chakra, and opening up that connection to divine source through our crown chakra, and embodying that circular energy and holding that energetic frequency, that pattern, by keeping our energy clear. And sometimes this requires some external energy healing. I'm a big fan of getting support through Rohan, through Reiki. I've talked about some of those on the show. Healing the subconscious through Rohan therapy with Dr. Julie Dietrich is one that you can check out. Sometimes we need support beyond just coaching. Sometimes we actually need physical, somebody to come in and help clean that up for us. Embody Your Light Body with Barbara, Amalia Schaefer-Berdner, many, many names. And sometimes there is a time and a place to call on those people to help us clear our energy fields. It's one of the things that I do in my energy attunement session. So I use my voice, intuitively guided in those sessions, to clear energy fields. But sometimes it feels good to have somebody lay hands on you. And this all comes down to creating that container for the embodied healing self. So knowing when to seek support and guidance for that healing, massage, access bars, Reiki, light body work, Rohan. There are many different modalities that I'm not even aware of. And if you're listening and you're somebody who offers those, please reach out to me. I love to share. Those are just the ones that I've done, but I love to share what's out there, what's possible. But the embodied healing self is about having the support to do that when you need it, and then knowing when to trust your own intuitive guidance. And in my own personal experience, in the very beginning, those healers were super vital to my healing process. And over the years, I've developed a relationship with Source, with my higher self, to know when I need the support and when it's within me. So the embodied healing self is about knowing when to have someone support you to do the healing work for you, but the embodied healing self is about learning to trust your own intuitive guidance in your own healing. And then finally, we come to discovering your soul signature. So the seventh foundational layer, discovering your soul signature, your energy signature. Your only purpose is to embrace who you are. Before you came into this life, your soul decided to come on this planet for a purpose, for a reason. And all of our life experiences are opportunities to walk closer to that path or to sort of take the long way. And we're always right where we need to be. It's happening whether we know it or not. And so part of you listening to this show is an interest in evolving and growing and expanding and embodying your purpose sooner. Only the people who are ready to receive this are listening to this show. That's kind of how it works. And as we do this, we start to notice that abundance of life, abundance meaning connection, love, nourishment, financial security, joy, intimacy, all of the things that we love in life are all about receiving the truth of who we are, receiving that highest expression, which is the truth of who we are, knowing our self-worth to be worthy of receiving all that life has to offer. And even when those challenging times come, leaning into and recognizing that it's a contraction that will be followed by another expansion, another growth edge, an expansion of our vibration, our energy signature, our soul. And learning to tap into our own intuitive guidance that we all have. There are probably moments where you notice it, but we've forgotten that it's there, or maybe we don't trust it. So honing those intuitive skills that are our truth. I love to share information about the Heart Math Institute. So scientifically shows that we can receive messages through our heart before our brain can cognitively make sense of it. That's heart intuition. And learning more about the different types of intuition and how they show up in our life. And our connection to what you'll hear me say sometimes, our higher self, which is that divine source of unconditional love. It's like the God within us. Embodying that higher self You can think of it as Christ consciousness, right? Like he was the ultimate human being that embodied divine love, embodied God in man form. And so what we are here to do as a practice is to live a lifestyle, to make choices, to take care of ourselves, to honor ourselves in a way that we become more connected with our higher self, our soul signature. And all of this happens through energy attunement. And those are the 7 levels of energy attunement. So I invite you to stay connected with our community. I'd love for you to join our energy attunement challenge, jenmons.com/energy. It's going to go live on October 7th. You'll be able to get your name on the list now. You'll receive all your materials before we go live. Join us in the Facebook group, join the conversation, learn more about energy management, intuitive eating, energy alignment through self-devotion, your energy signature and body wisdom, your soul signature, creating sacred space, healing energy blocks. We're going to talk about all of those. Because what most of us want is more energy. We want to feel better. We want our life to be full of joy and contentment. Most of us are curious about what the best version of ourselves looks like. And so this program is all about taking those steps. It's complimentary, it's free, it's just a challenge to join the conversation, to see what that energy signature that you came into this earth with. It includes all of the lives before you, your vision, your connections. You're part of a larger integrated network of this energy grid. What is your role in this larger energetic grid, this network of divine love and energy? And how do you tap into the highest frequency of your energy signature? Thanks so much for joining today. Hello, friends, and thank you so much for joining me today and being a part of this community. I know there are many other podcasts that you could be tuning into, and I am deeply honored that you chose to listen in and be present with me today. I love and cherish and appreciate you, and I want to invite you to join our tribe and Facebook group under jenmons.com/connect. I would also love to gift you your guide to discovering and overcoming the self-limiting beliefs standing in the way of you living in optimal health, more energy, fulfillment, and self-confidence to create an embodied, healthy, whole you. You can find this at jenmons.com/tribe. I also have one small request to help spread the love. In order for this podcast to show up in the feed of social media platforms of other like-minded people, we need reviews. So please head on over to jenmons.com/podcast to leave a review. You will also find other inspiring episodes on that page. So I personally read these reviews weekly and would love to give you a shout out and share your kind words with our listeners. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook as Jen Mons or The Holistic Coach with the W Holistic and Jen Mons, JenMons.com. Thank you so much and have an amazing day. Aloha.